Welcome to the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You are now part of a small underground movement of dent technicians from all over the world. We are on a mission to change our industry with innovation, intelligence, and skill. But because we don't rely on an insurance company to steer customers our way, we need to do things different. We need to do things smarter. We do that through a network of technicians that we call the Tactical Tech Movement. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey everybody, John Hiley here with the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast, chilling here with co-host Angela Hiley. You guys might have heard some of our recent shows where my wife is on board and she's making things fun, and I'm digging it. So how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. So, we actually got our first interview is going to be coming up here in a couple weeks. There's one person specifically that we really wanted to interview. And we're not going to tell you who it is yet because I don't like to do it until that interview's done. I mean, you just never know what'll happen. Things shift, things change. But we are focusing on people who really, in our industry haven't really had the light shined on them. And these very interesting people, very intriguing people that we want to bring out. Now, that's not to say I might not have a technical session, talking tech talk, because I'm going to keep doing that, guys. We're just kind of, moving along, doing our thing here, but I'm also going to have tech sessions and tech talk, and I might have a tech talk with Jeremy Taylor. I might have tech talk with Paul Corden. I might have tech talk with Bryce Kelly. But as far as our interviews go, to go into people's background, a little bit about their life, we're specifically targeting people that really haven't been interviewed on any podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that was Miss Angela's idea here, right?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit, honey, what are we going to be talking about today? About the way people treat you?
Yeah. Being used and abused.
Right. And that's kind of relevant for my wife here because she's like the sweetest person ever. And she tends to kind of like put all of her heart in a relationship. And there's really not a lot of people that can match that or give their heart back to her in that way. So
yeah, but it can be a downfall though too.
Right. So she's been dealing with it a little bit today, and she's a little choked up while we're talking about it here. But we actually just had a long talk in my truck before we came in here today, and was really just talking about, like, she wants to know, like, how do I, like, nobody really treats me with disrespect. And it really is about, what you are willing to accept in a relationship. And ideally, like, I don't put, like, everything in just any relationship. I doubt that I put everything in any relationship except for the one directly with my family. I mean, it's just something that, I got like my best friends. You guys know Mike Toledo out there, and we put a lot in our relationship, of course. But he's like one of the coolest people on planet Earth. Like I know Mike, you know what I mean? Like I keep my inner circle of people that are really tight with me very small, because I really got to know a person before I allow them to pass like certain, guidelines that I expect for people to conduct. Ways of conduct when they're dealing with me. Like, I don't take stuff like that lightly. Like, somebody comes at me sideways on anything, and they're not going to get into the nice guy. I mean, the pretty much the firm, individual who will not take no shit from anybody is going to come out. And that's what I want you guys, I want you guys to realize that, like, you're going to teach people around you exactly how to treat you in every situation. And, people are going to have to know that you're not a person that's going to be trampled on. You're not a person that's going to be taken for granted. And you are a person that keeps your eyes on everybody. And I mean, that's being tactical. When I started this whole thing, when I was envisioning what the tactical tech looked like, or in fact, what I was really envisioning of what the tactical man looked like. Now, I said tactical for a reason, because you got your battle guys that are just battling day to day, right? So you got your soldiers that are down there on the front line, and they're battling day to day. They're just attacking anything that comes in front of them. But then you got a general. You got for God's sakes, the president. You got like the top level people that are being tactical with their time and their moves. Okay, so they understand that it's a game of chess. You understand when you bring your PDR market into a new market that you're going to get some resistance from the people that are defending their territory. And look, you got to know how to deal with that. And you're not going to deal with it by fighting day to day and combating. You got to be tactical with your strategies. You got to understand how to outmarket people. You got to understand how to, push your company in a way that will basically beat out your competition. And I see her sitting over there. I think she gathered her thoughts here just for a moment.
I was kind of getting lost in your words.
Right?
I kind of felt like this was an episode of Game of Thrones.
An episode of Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Did I say gain?
Right. So, I guess you guys got to understand me a little bit before I go any further. Like, here's the thing. We've been taught that in this weird way, okay? Let's just think of our social circle that we have, like a playground when we were in school, okay? So you had the kids over here on this one corner that played football, played basketball, they played baseball, you know what I mean? And then you had these kids over here that were kind of like the artsy type that, were over in another corner, they were sitting down, they were drawing on their book bags, whatever, okay? And then you had whatever, like probably the choir kids along beside them, you had the, you just had all these different segments and these different groups. But what you got to understand about me is I was with a group of kids that was playing sports, and we would do anything to win, regardless. It was fair game. I'd try to rip my friend's head off in a game of football just to win, right? And at the end, if I won, he would respect that. And in business, I look at things the same way, right? So I look at it like, okay, so who's at the very top? How can I be at I'm going to go to the top. That's why I'm in business. I'm in it for the challenge, right? I'm in it for that, all right? But I think that there's people out there, they're like the artsy kids, you know what I mean? The kids that were drawing on their book, and they take offense to that. Like nobody's ever challenged them. Nobody's ever tried to beat them before. And for somebody like me, I don't understand it. Like I'm going to charge to the top regardless. And, and I'm going to do whatever it takes in my moral compass to do that, to win legitimately. And I feel that if anybody gets upset about that, they're kind of being a girly boy,
Being a wiener.
Right?
You's a wiener, son. No.
Right? So I guess we can all relate to this because I think one of the hard things and the hardest thing that for my wife, I'm kind of taking over the show because she was getting a little choked up at the beginning, is that, the hardest part, people that we have to set boundaries with is our family.
Absolutely.
And that is the tough thing. And
such a love-hate relationship with your family.
I think we all deal with that,
Yeah.
What is it? You can't choose your family, though. That's the thing, right?
No, you can't. That's what you get.
Like legitimately, guys. And if you think about this, think about the people that give you the most problems in your family. All right. Would you legitimately hang out with them if they weren't your family?
No.
Right?
Hell no.
Right.
Not after today. Hell no.
So you're being forced to contend with, you're actually being forced to maintain a friendship that is there with just the link of your family. And that's part of our challenges. That's a challenge that we've got to face.
You're basically trying to develop a friendship, not being brother or sister, sister and sister, brother and brother. Like when you grow up, you're like trying to establish some type of relationship where you guys can get together and have a good time and respect one another and enjoy each other's company. But unfortunately, a lot of people like myself, it just doesn't work out that way. So here I am as the giver.
Yeah.
And a lot of my family are the takers.
Right. Well, you got to imagine she's a sweet sweetheart, and she wants everybody to like, reciprocate that same love that you put out. And that's mainly the reason why people, are so loving to others, is because they want that same love in return. And it gets frustrating when you put a lot of love into a relationship and you don't get that same love in return.
Yeah, especially when you're kind of basically, you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to treat these people the way I would want to be treated. So then you do that, and it's like kind of comes back and it bites you in the ass. And then you're basically looking at yourself thinking, I'm putting all this energy in, and I'm not getting the energy back that I deserve. So then you have to sit there and you have to like reevaluate yourself thinking, are they really worth it? Even though they're family members.
I know exactly what you mean, and I understand that. And, that's the thing, and we talked a little bit about that earlier, but that's a hard question to answer. I mean, a lot of people got to answer that question fully in their heart, what they want to invest, what they want to give. But I'm a fan of, and I always have been, like if you invest in a certain way and the intended results, okay? So like let's say my intended result was to, be closer with one of my family members. And the way that I was treating them, they weren't reciprocating. I would tend to change my engagement level, and that would basically force a change in the dynamic of the relationship, And I know that's going to be hard for her, but I think she's at the point where she's going to be willing to do that. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have faced with this. I mean, fortunate for me, I'm in the I don't give a shit dude category. Like I just literally.
Well, you eventually, like myself, you eventually get to that point to where you start pulling back and you're just thinking like, this is just so not worth it. I can be giving my energy to somebody else that is going to appreciate it and cherish it a lot more.
Yeah.
Than what's going on now.
Yeah. So, I mean, like ideally, you can almost put this in the category being a paintless dent removal technician as far as like the customer base that you decide to go after. Like, how are they going to treat you? Like, I remember when I was doing car dealerships, I mean, them guys literally treat you like you're the wash boy, like you're the bucket boy or something like that.
Like your dog shit?
Yeah, I mean, basically. I mean, they really do. Like in the car dealership industry, when you're one of their vendors, I mean, I'm not saying every car dealer, but like half of them or something like that. They tend to just treat you like you're a nobody, and they don't care. They like tend to devalue your services, make up these like fake favors that you owe them. Okay. I mean, that's literally what pushed me away from that market, is because I couldn't live with the way they actually treat people. And it was definitely, once I realized that I was able to move into a retail market, and I remember doing these retail customer cars, and these customers were looking at me just glowing when I was finished with their repair work, and they were appreciative. And I mean, it was weird at first, it was like,
you're probably thinking like, do I deserve this?
Like, wait a second, like I'm a lot boy.
Is this really happening?
I'm a lot boy. You're supposed to treat me like a lot boy, Kick my
really
squeegee out of my hand. Come on, you're supposed to kick my squeegee.
Doing a dance for him or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Chris Rock, there was like a comedy skit, or he did something about like, like doing a dance, or let me kiss your ass, or...
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's one of my favorite comedians, though.
You don't remember that?
I remember something like when he was. There was a movie where he actually like went into this white dude's body, and there was a time when he was on stage and he was like telling jokes that only black people would only black people would allow other black people to tell these jokes. But he was in this white guy's body. And I remember when some guy started dogging him on stage, and he was like he's this rich white guy, and he's trying to live his life, right?
Set. I forget.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that movie, but he said something like, oh, so what? You're gonna come to my job and try to knock me? How about I crush you with my wallet? Because he's like this rich dude. And then he said, do I come to your job and mess with you? Do I kick your squeegee out your hand? And that's when he finally started picking up, and people started laughing about it. But that's the truth of the matter is, I mean, wherever you intend to go, like the way you put yourself out there, the people you'll connect with, the way you allow people to treat you, is going to really dictate the way, I think it really dictates the way you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. I've seen people in the industry that's been totally broke down by the car dealers. They've been literally, I know there was a dude around here that, I'm not going to say his name, but I mean, he was a long-time technician. I mean, he was like 30 years into it or something like that. And he was an original dent wizard. And I remember working with him, and they finally got him down to about $35 to fix a whole car.
That's just fucked up.
Yeah, and I think they were virgin on 25 or something like that.
That's just wrong.
And the dude was literally a broken spirit. I mean, he'd show up there, he'd do his thing, but he was broken, He didn't have any more self-respect. He couldn't say no anymore. He was down to his bottom dime, and I want to say that he left. Like, he ended up going into his family, I better not say too much, but his family owned a business, and his father passed away, and he took over that business, and he totally got out of this industry because it's where it drove him. There's nothing better that I like to do than to stick my foot up all these dealerships' asses. I mean, really, like I think that's like ultimately the intent of what we're doing here. We're trying to like bring everybody around us up to a better level. When I envision that tactical technician, the individual that's strategic, the individual who wants to every day to become better, and to rise to a higher level. And every day they're on a mission to achieve that. Like I imagine it being an individual who like structures like who he wants to be, like the individual who he desires, his true self, and projects that out onto the world and then begins building a path to that life.
When you said that you wanted to like stick your foot up their ass, it reminded me of the movie Me, Myself, and Irene.
Right.
You remember that? Like in the movie, he's like so irritated with his neighbor because the one neighbor's dog comes over and shits in his front lawn, and then they take the newspaper, and then one day Jim Carrey, he like flips the script and he goes over and grabs his newspaper and
yeah, that's what triggered it. That was
takes
the first
a big old shit in his neighbor's yard.
That was the first thing that triggered it, But that, that's a perfect, that's a perfect example because that movie, Me, Myself, and Irene, he stuffed all these emotions inside.
Yeah.
And then one day his neighbor did something. That's what triggered it, I think, in that movie. And next thing you know, he's out there reading his neighbor's paper, taking a crap in his yard. And you know what?
He's reading his own newspaper.
Right.
That his neighbor likes
took from him.
to steal, and then decides to take a big old shit in the neighbor's yard.
So honestly, like I hope this podcast is going to be me taking a big old shit on these people in these car dealerships that are driving down our industry. I want to take a big old shit on the insurance companies that are trying to push us down, trying to drive our prices down, especially in some of the saturated areas of the country. And I'm just hoping that this podcast is something that will awaken that person, inside of you guys that I know that like everybody could be. I mean, not even if you're, and here's the thing, if you connect with me on that level, if you're connected with me now, then you're already that person. You know what I mean? You're doing that. We're connecting because we know each other. You understand what I'm going for in this. And then you guys who want to move to that higher level, I mean, that's exciting to me. There's nothing more that I love to hear that this podcast impacted somebody in a way that kind of made them never give up, Mm-hmm. And I've heard a lot from a lot of people. They say, wow, if John Hiley struggled, at the beginning, if he went through all these challenges, if he went through all of this stuff, and, nobody else in the industry ever told me that they've had problems or struggles or it was hard, right? So I'm just thinking I'm the degenerate, right? But now I hear it from this John Hiley, right? That yes, it is hard. Yes, look at these struggles. Look what I went through. That I can give them just a little ray of hope to push forward and become better, and maybe realize, like, let this sink down into your brain that only the strong are going to survive. Then, you know what I mean? I've achieved my mission here.
Yes, you have, sir.
Yeah, so that's ideally, where I'm going here with this. It's fun. Really, ideally, look, honey, like what do you have to say to some of the audience out here, like of what you feel like, because I know that you're dealing with some of these issues and you're kind of in the middle of it. And she like really just wants to, like, what is she doing wrong? Like, she treats people a certain way. She doesn't get treated the same way. And, I'm more of a guy, like, I've learned a long time ago, I want to listen more
I even think it's like sometimes when your lifestyle changes, like you're going in one direction and then you have like friends and then next thing you know, everything's okay. But then all of a sudden it's like they just drop off the earth and you don't hear anything from them anymore.
Right.
And you're just thinking like, what the hell did I do?
Well, I will tell you guys a little something here that I know for a fact is that the people that you meet today, whatever current level you are in life, okay, the people that you meet today, if you tend to better your life in a major way, keep in mind that they can become different people tomorrow. And you always have to be on the outlook for that. And I'm going to tell you another thing, though. There's people that could try to hold you back today that in the future actually become the people that you associate yourself with, okay? Because not everybody at like a higher successful level is just going to let you in easy. I mean, that's the truth. You know what I mean? You're going to get resistance. Nobody who's successful is just going to open that door for you.
No.
I mean, sometimes you got to kick that bitch down and hand them the hinges.
But then also you have people that try to put themselves in your life, and here they're actually trying to tear you down instead of.
Well, you got to be on the lookout for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It kills me when everybody thinks that when there are these certain type of success gurus who acts like everything's kosher and smiley on every front.
It's not,
and they're just so full of shit. I mean, there's people who literally they don't want you to succeed. And I mean,
there is.
You have to be good at figuring these people out and outmaneuvering them. I mean, and when I told you that when you kick down that door and you hand them the hinges, the reason why you hand them the hinges, just you do that because you got to let them know that, no, this ain't a mistake what just happened right here. Here's something to remember me by.
And these people, in all honesty, will put on this front like they're these awesome individuals, that they've got a heart of gold, that they've got this and this and this, and this is what they're doing. Gloating. That's what there's a lot of gloating, or maybe what is it? Like everything is so perfect on the outside, but then on the inside, there's like that hidden agenda where it's like, oh, I'm going to wiggle my way in there and get your trust. And once I get your trust, then I'm going to like tear you down.
Well, and what you guys got to understand about gloating is insecurity. Like anytime somebody has the, they feel it's necessary to, point out something that just doesn't need to be pointed out, you know what I mean? Or like what she's talking about, gloating. That just means that they're insecure and they're doing it because they want to feel a little bit secure. And them are signs. I mean, you got to be on the lookout. There's little things like Angela was saying here. There was a guy who at one point I was associated with, and it took me maybe a couple years to realize, but he wasn't the same on the day that I met him, and it took me a couple years.
It was his representative.
Well, yeah, but it took me a couple years to figure that out. And what did I do? I took that as a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Like, learn how to surround yourself with the right type of people. And in life, you're going to learn these little things, about the people you surround yourself. You're going to learn how to keep your circle tight, right?
And keep it small. It's
if
just
you can
best
keep
to
it,
keep it
if you
small.
can keep that inner circle tight and small, just by the odds of numbers alone, these people that are secretly trying to like plot against you aren't going to get in, know? And the moment that you see them and the moment you discover them is the moment you need to cut them and let them go. I would say that's probably one of the things, if I could go back and change about my journey, is I would let people go much quicker when the signs came along that they were going to become a problem for me in the future.
Yeah, it could be friends. Definitely can be family members. And a lot of times when it's
I don't
family
know.
members...
I think sometimes the family members are, especially as employees, I can't say that I recommend employing family members anymore.
I don't either, because you end up giving them more of a chance than you would just the average person.
Well, and not only that, it's because when you employ somebody, you should be employing them based on talent.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you employ a family member, you're not employing them based on them being the most talented or the most suitable for the job. And you really risk being, losing that family element. It's just not, in my opinion, it's not worth it. I'm not saying like don't help your family out, don't give them something, if you feel compelled to do so. But what I'm telling you is that once they become an employee and they start to change, you're going to give them more chances. You're going to look the other way on certain things that you would literally, like, again, shove your foot right up somebody else's ass if they were just an employee. It's better to have that. I believe that it's better to have that relationship where, you're there for two things. They're there to work and to be the most competent they can possible in that job position, and you're there to employ them.
Hey, it's just like Biggie Small said in the 10 Crack Commandments.
Oh God! I actually listen to that song. I love old school rap, guys. I love old school rap as much as I love George Jones and Hank Williams Jr.
If you haven't listened to that song, I highly recommend it because you can actually learn and take some good advice from it and apply it to your life.
Apparently, there was a lot of resemblance to selling crack, as there is like in the business sense. In the business sense.
Yeah, in the business sense.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Biggie Smalls had a legitimate song there. And every time I listen to it, I am reminded that, hey, I always call it the 10 PDR commandments.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
we need to make like a poster or something like that. That'd be
right.
I think people would probably like that.
Right. But yeah, so like ideally, guys, to kind of sum this podcast up, I know this is not going to be a super long one. I just want you guys to, be on this mission with me just to become bigger and better each and every day. To better, look, if we can better your individual life, your individual situation, if we can better the way people treat you, the way you'll allow people to treat you, if we can better your work situation, little by little, that's going to better the world, in my opinion. And I mean, the change that what is that? The Dalai Lama, something that he said, is that be the change that you would like to see in the world, okay? And I do believe that that's the most important thing that we can do. Like literally, you look around the world and you see these problems, you see these issues inside, you feel these issues. So you be that change. You be that shining example. And when you become that change, you shine your light up on the world to where they can look at you as that example, I mean, how many times did, you got a couple parents that smoke cigarettes and they catch their kids smoking cigarettes and they say, stop smoking cigarettes. And what do the kids say? They say, well, screw you. You smoke cigarettes too, you hypocrite. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If the parents really wanted to see change, they would quit first. Mm-hmm. And they would be the change they wanted to see in the world. And I think ideally that's the way everybody looks at us. You know what I mean? Like if you think that, people are super shitty and can't be trusted, then, change it up. You know what I mean? Be that good person. Be kind to people. And I didn't say be nice. I said be kind to people. There's a difference there, okay? Big difference. You know what the difference is, don't you, honey?
Why don't you explain it to me?
Being kind is something that you want to do. Being nice is something that you do against your own will.
Yeah, that is true.
Right?
Yeah, like you get that gut feeling. And it's like saying no, but you do it anyways. And then you pretty much get slapped in the face and from it.
So being kind is a lot different than being nice. There's actually a book out there I want to recommend you guys. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And it's actually a really good book. And I think for a lot of people that might have like nice guy syndrome, that just literally let themselves be trampled on by everybody and anybody and still come back and do it with a big old smile on their face, but yet they're a smoking volcano inside ready to erupt.
Yeah, that's not good.
This book might be for you. And this book will teach you how to be kind and not nice. I like
Be
that.
kind.
Yeah.
Hey, on a happy note, we are recording this on Monday, September the 11th, and today
Yep.
is our boy's birthday. He turned 16 years old.
Yeah, and he was actually born on 9/11, and yeah, I remember we had him earlier that morning,
He was born at 1:48 in the morning.
1:48 in the morning, and we woke up and seen the planes crashing into buildings that morning in the hospital.
Yeah, and I had him in my arms, and I was feeding him a bottle.
Yeah, that was wild, but we look at it in a positive note, that we brought, a wonderful life into the world, when so many were being
beautiful
lost.
life.
Yeah, when so many were being lost, it was a replenishing of life. So, we're very, very thankful. He's a really good kid. And I don't even know how we got him.
I don't know how he turned out.
Evidently our parenting skills worked. We were awful young, but I don't know. He doesn't get in trouble. It's he's an amazing kid. He gets great grades.
Yeah.
We've been bribing him his whole life to get good grades, and it's worked. So he evidently he likes stuff more than he likes getting in trouble.
Yeah, he's looking forward to getting that car too.
Yeah. So we're already talking about getting him a car, but he's one of them kids, it's weird. I wanted to get my driver's license right away. When I was 15 and a half and I get my permit, I was down there taking the test, and he's nonchalant about it. He's chilling it up about it. And
No, he's getting into it now a little bit more. I think he's building his confidence up. That's just with his whole weight loss. I mean, he's lost it's September, so it's been about a year now. So he's lost 49 pounds. And I've always brought it up to him. I was just like, Jonathan, you don't need to be eating that junk food all the time. Have you ever thought about maybe wanting to work out? I was like, we can get you a personal trainer. You can work out, see how you like it. And he tried it out and changed some eating habits, started losing weight, started gaining muscle, and just kept doing it. I mean, I do not know many 16-year-olds that are as disciplined as him.
Oh, he's way more disciplined than me. And now, granted, we started in September of last year, so it's been one full year since we've been working out together.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, me and him just did it 3 times a week, and then we upgraded to 4 times a week. We added Sunday. And now I do it 7 days a week in the morning as well. So I train him. I train 7 days a week and then 4 days in the evenings. So I actually train, quite a bit, and that's kind of where I've gained. But he has literally, he's lost so much weight. Like she said, it was he was 200 and he's down to 198 pounds, and he was 200 and something.
He started out at 247. He's
247.
198. He's went down 4 pant sizes. T-shirts though, he's still between an extra large and a 2X. That's just because he's really broad up on the shoulders. He's built like his daddy.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, I think that's it, guys. We're going to go ahead and cut out of this episode.
Yep.
And as usual, be ready for our interview. These interviews that we're putting together are going to be amazing. So hang tight, and I will continue doing some technical episodes. So you'll see them pop up here and there. We're going to probably do a main episode and then a technical episode. And then occasionally a technical episode might take, if we don't have time to do a main episode, might take the place of it. Whatever, but we are going to continue delivering 1 to 2 episodes a week. And, we just look forward to growing together with our audience out there. Mm-hmm. And it's exciting, and I hope you guys all know that I appreciate you.
Yes,
and
we do.
As usual, I'm going to see you on that next one.
And I'm going to say the ending. Stay true, be real, and it's all about the hustle.
All right. Well, if they like our podcast, they're the real deal. We'll
Yes,
see you
they are.
guys.